No idea.
So another little thing happened. Moving on. Last, was it PKN or PKA? Yeah. So last week on the show, we discussed Woody's terrible contractor and how he faked multiple life-threatening illnesses for himself and his wife. So he just kept delaying all these projects on Woody, and it was a real hassle. And at one point, Woody was like, he even showed me pictures of his dogs to like get pity, and I was like, no way, let me see the dogs. And I legitimately just wanted to see the dogs. I thought he'd text me the dogs or something, and Woody was like, yeah, look at the dogs, and showed me text messages of the dogs, and completely accidentally he, I guess, flashed the guy's phone number because it's at the top of the thing, and we didn't realize until it was too late. Someone messaged me days and days and days later, and it was far too late by then. Well, I guess some people called him and tried to hire his services and have been giving him a hard time. So he's calling Woody, and he's like, "You've sicked these degenerates on me. This bullshit show you do. There's over 180,000 views already on it, and these people are calling me, and they're doing this and that."
What are your response when he said there's 180,000 views on the YouTube? I wanted your response to be well, actually, that doesn't account for all the other services that it's.
YouTube is but a fraction of our.
It's not, don't get the.
Well, the audio listeners aren't calling him. I didn't say that.
Not yet. Not yet. They aren't. The things you miss out on when you never watch the video.
Yeah, you can't get.
I didn't mean to leak his number. It sucks. But he did act like it was yet another one of the worst things that ever happened to him. It just there. So he took about 5 months to do maybe 10 days worth of work. And when he did work, I swear this guy works from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
I hate this guy so much.
How is this even worth your commute? But he would routinely work 10 to 2. And that's part of why it takes so long.
He even said, he was like, how would you like it if I started a podcast and I showed your number on there? And it's turns out he's starting a podcast. It was gonna start this week, but he has AIDS, so it's been delayed. It's been delayed 2 to 3 weeks before he begins his podcast.
What if he starts a podcast? He's TBD. A fucking natural, explodes past us, and then fuck! Damn it! We're getting blown out by the Contractor Weekly talk hour.
5 months to
Welcome to the Lazy Frank Show. I'm Lazy Frank.
I'm Lazy Frank. Welcome to the 1 Minute Podcast.
Here's my wife, Terry Schiavo. Beep, beep. Beep. She's on the monitors.
We're pretty happy with the work he did. It just, instead of 10 days, it took 5 months to do it. And
so if somebody needs some work done
in 2022,
if somebody needs some work done, this will be done by the middle of this decade.
I didn't like that he stored his trailer in our driveway for 5 months.
You shouldn't. Just because you have 2 driveways doesn't mean you don't deserve to use both of them.
Do you have a wobbly toilet that you need fixed in 3 to 6 months? Do you have a little extra room in your front yard for a large trailer? Well, there's only one man to call for the job.
A lot of people thought that maybe he was working on someone else's project, but I had all his tools in my front yard the whole winter. He wasn't working anywhere else.
Those tools are doing.
You think he's laundering money in some other way? You think he's a criminal? But this is his moonlighting gig.
I don't want to accuse him of any crimes.
He kept asking me for more money, so no, I don't think so.
He sounds like an alcoholic.
I don't think so.
What if that? Hey, we got an expert.
We have a subject matter expert here. Not that I know.
Late.
Often late.
Often late.
He makes promises that he never fulfills.
Right.
He likes to use his nail gun drunk. Look how far it could go.
I looked in his trailer, there's nothing in there but 3 kegs of beer and a vomit stinking mattress.
All his tools were really nice. He has everything's matching DeWalt. He's a DeWalt guy, and all of his tools matched. It was all high end stuff. He made an outstanding first impression.
Yeah,
it wasn't
I like DeWalt as well.
Missed this. At first it'd be hey bro, when should I expect you? That was the phrasing I always used. When should I expect you? It's a nice way of saying you coming to work today, dude. Yeah. And there'd be some excuse. It got to be I just didn't expect him anymore. Of course he's not coming to work. Why would he? Yeah, and he got demo done immediately. You know what else I hated? Just remembering this, and it made me so mad. We hired him for like a smaller project, right? Like just the toilet and coffee maker or whatever it was. And he's like, actually, I'm a really good carpenter, and like, check out how loose this is. And there's a wobbly hand railing. It goes like, it's a front porch. It has maybe 4 steps. And the railing is wobbly. And he rips it down and says, look how weak that was. And I'm like, well...
Look how easy this hammer dents your car.
Yeah.
You need protection.
No, I have to face it.
It's like one of those guys that comes in your house to sell you like a steam cleaner and pours like crude oil on your white carpets first.
Now you don't want to believe.
No, he literally did that. He ripped down the railing, and then there was like a globe. Picture like a 1 foot diameter sort of decorative wooden ball at the top of a newel post. And he ripped that off too. And he's like, look, this comes right off. And it's like, you're doing demo, like pre-estimate. I don't have a quote to fix this yet.
I would literally call the police.
Like... It's the shadiest fucking tactic ever. I
would literally call the police. You just tell them the truth. I called this man and asked him to fix my toilet and my coffee maker. He walked outside and started tearing my porch apart and pointed out how weak it was. I want to file charges for destruction of property. And then he'd be like, yeah, that's exactly what happened, but I thought he'd hire me. Fraud as well, it seems, sir. Yes. Let's get that right down.
You know what you need to do, Woody? You need to go to his house and test, like, how... Can you hang on his kitchen cabinets? I don't know. Maybe you need to test it. Look at this. I can just tear your whole kitchen apart without... look at this. This coffee maker goes right into your TV.
Yeah.
You didn't consider any of this. Wow, everything just lights on fire. Look, just tossing a match. Look at how flammable your throw pillows are.
We have a big house.
I'm showing you all the fucking danger.
There's so many things that like need to be done. Like you close a door and you can like see like a little bits of light, on the other, like, oh, the weather sealing's not quite right, and we just got like a zillion of those. Our gutters are like there's an area in the front where the gutter doesn't point down, so it kind of drips over the side, and that causes further. Anyway, it's like we got a million little things that was his audition to be like my fucking next dependent. I'm gonna have another guy just around here sucking money out of me all the time. I was going to add one to the list, and he missed his chance. We got to find someone else.
Piece of shit, this guy.
Literally
jerk.
It's like calling the fucking fire department because your house is on fire, and they just like show up with a flamethrower. And you're like,
yeah. They're like, look, all this shit catches on fire.
Our fire's even hotter. We're going to intimidate the other fire into
that is the shadiest. I hired a paint. Well, I didn't actually hire him, but I hired a painter to give me a quote. I guess I had a painter. And this is the Apex house. On the siding, it kind of bubbled under the paint a little bit. Like water got behind it and it bubbled a bit. So he took a screwdriver and pried it off to show me that it was weak. And it's like, well, fuck. We went from like bubbling under the paint to like exposed raw unpainted siding.
Yeah.
Like, is this part of your sales technique? Where you take my 4 out of 10 problems and make them 9 out of 10 problems, and now like it's an emergency?
You call the police. I swear to God, you call the police.
I'm remembering.
I would not deal with that.
This is so funny. I'm remembering this, but like, there was this contractor. I think his name was like Matt or something, but it was when I was maybe in middle school. I was like 12, 13, and my parents hired this guy to do something in our kitchen. And like all contractors, he took forever to do nothing. And he was an asshole. He was the worst kind of asshole. He was like over the top religious, like always inviting us to things, talking about how important it was to go to church. And then it would be like, oh, but I guess keeping your word is like one of the chapters, one of the many. You know how often in the Bible they say like don't lie, don't cheat people. I guess you skipped all those, Matt. And there was one time I had a buddy of mine, Sean, over, and we were hanging out in the basement. And then he's like, let's go outside and play basketball. He was very, very good. This kid was unbelievably good at basketball. And so I'm like, okay, I'll go shoot hoops with you. You're just going to humiliate me because I sucked. And we went out there and we started playing, and then we come back in, grab some water, and this guy is pretending to work in the kitchen. And he goes, what are you guys doing? And we're like, we're just playing basketball. And he's like, I played in high school a little bit. We're not going to ask you a follow-up. We're 13. We don't give a fuck, you weirdo. I'm going to come out and shoot some hoops with you. Really? If my parents were home, they probably wouldn't like that, but okay, you're an adult and I'm 13, so I can't really stop you. He comes out there, and very quickly, the game of horse becomes me totally not involved, and he is hardcore 1v1ing my friend aggressively, like moving picks. At one point, like my friend was beating him handily, and this like 38-year-old.
Okay.
He was a big 13-year-old, and he was genuine. He was. I can't oversell how good he was. Like, he was playing for teams like that traveled with kids 3 years older than him, like unbelievably good. And so this asshole comes out there and thinks he's going to impress us, and he's just getting crossed over, looking like a fool. And my buddy was like going back to like take a long shot, and he gets body checked by this almost 40-year-old contractor. And I remember, I can still see it. My buddy's just like, like falling back onto the asphalt and just looking up like, I don't know. This is a new scenario I'm in right now. An adult I don't know just body checked me in what's supposed to be a friendly game of basketball. And I remember both of us were just like, yeah, we're gonna go play Pokemon Snap, I guess, like, or whatever the hell it was. Like, yeah, that guy fucking sucked. I think they ended up firing him because he just, he was so on his hands and knees for God that he couldn't, get the countertop.
Turns out, same contractor as Woody's, also a time traveler. That's why he's always late. He's a time traveler.
Yeah, he's trying to beat up.
He's off going back to like beat up Taylor's friends.
I meant installing that hoop wasn't even part of the quote, but there it is.
Yeah. Wait, you installed a hoop at a house in Missouri in 2001?
No, I would say he gave me one. But anyway.